So just in case you've been living under a rock here for the last year, there's been a lot of big companies, a lot of big entities who have been quietly, very quietly accumulating a lot of MicroStrategy shares, also known as strategy now. So I'm going to show you three different reports here of these huge entities, these big pools of capital who are buying MicroStrategy. And then we'll talk about it after. But let's start with the US public pension funds are absolutely going ham into MicroStrategy. As of late 2024, public pension funds and state treasuries in 12 US states held a combined 330 million strategy shares. California leads with 83 million, followed by the state's public employee retirement fund. Wow. So California, a little bit of hope there maybe. I don't know. They got their teachers' retirement system and their public employees' retirement system for a combined of about, I don't know, $160 million worth of MicroStrategy shares. 330 million total though. And I'm not going to go through all of them. Hopefully you can see them there. But that's a pretty big deal. Ask yourself why. Why would these companies be holding MicroStrategy? What? All right, what's the next one here? We got some in Canada, I believe, as well. Here it is. The National Bank of Canada and the Bank of Montreal. Not to be mistaken, that is not the Bank of Canada, but the National Bank of Canada are loading up on MicroStrategy. National Bank added 525 million. Wow. While Bank of Montreal bought 790 million worth of shares. That is nuts. That is nuts. Canada getting in the game. And the last one I saw, I don't know if I sent this to myself or not, but where would that be? It was Lutnick, Howard Lutnick of Cantor Fitzgerald. They released their Q4 report, their financial statements, showing that they have $1 billion worth of MicroStrategy shares. $1 billion worth of MicroStrategy shares. Keep in mind, the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald is Howard Lutnick, also known as Trump's head of commerce within his administration, also known as a guy who's responsible for managing the sovereign wealth fund. And when I think it was David Sachs was asked whether or not they're going to add Bitcoin to the sovereign wealth fund of the US, he said Howard is going to be the guy who gets to decide that kind of stuff. So just put a couple pieces together here, connect a few dots on your own, and pretty good chance the US sovereign wealth fund will have some Bitcoin in it with Howard Lutnick at the reins. But think about why. We got these state pension funds. We got these banks in Canada. We got Cantor Fitzgerald. Total of 330. What was the other one? 790 and 5. A lot. A couple $1 billion worth of MicroStrategy shares through these entities are holding right now. But why? Because they can't own Bitcoin. They can't hold Bitcoin. They really want to hold Bitcoin, but they cannot hold Bitcoin. And so for anybody out there who's like looking at this and saying, oh man, all these big entities are buying MicroStrategy shares, I should probably get one. Well, yes, for sure. But keep in mind here that the reason they're buying MicroStrategy shares is because they can't buy Bitcoin. If they could buy Bitcoin and hold it themselves, they absolutely would. And the good news for you is that you can. Unless you're a public company, unless you're a pension fund, you probably can hold Bitcoin yourself. So that's what they want to do. You have the ability to do that. So if you have the option between Bitcoin and MicroStrategy, you should be 100% into Bitcoin. With the money that you do have available, that should be in Bitcoin. Any money you have trapped in a traditional system, in your pension fund, your retirement account, MicroStrategy. But everything else, you have the ability to hold Bitcoin. Be your own sailor. Be your own strategy for your family. You don't need MicroStrategy here. You are the strategy. So it's a pretty big deal. Pretty big deal within the Bitcoin world, I would say. It's very clear what's happening here if you're paying attention at all.